Emanated from her striking silvery eyes and slender body to hold the audience spellbound. Her sequined gown was a shimmering silver, molding to her like a second skin. The bare flesh it revealed was tanned a smooth gold. Her thick, shining ebony hair hung about her shoulders in a living curtain of darkness, and her voice, throaty, sensual, filled with an odd, defiant yearning, endowing the words of the song with a wild plea that touched every person in the audience. Women, old and young alike, felt their throats constrict and eyes fill with tears as the passionate words seemed to rise from their own deepest selves. And men of all ages felt their hearts thudding dully in their ears, conscious of a desperate desire to go out and slay dragons. The man standing in the wings felt the compulsion toward heroic deeds, felt his heart pounding fiercely. A distant part of his mind marveled silently at the effect of the woman and the woman's voice. In little less than a year, she'd won over popular music fans throughout the country. The world, her manager had mentioned casually, happily, was next. Travis Foxx, standing next to that manager now, was conscious of a dozen questions he wanted to ask. But he listened instead, to a voice rich with a woman's passion and to words that stripped that woman's soul naked as she sang of the dearth of heroes. "Isn't she something?" Philip Saunders asked cheerfully, clearly expecting a positive response. Travis reluctantly pulled his gaze from the stage as Saber Duncan instantly went into another song, barely giving the stunned audience time to applaud. Yes, she's certainly something. Travis's resonant voice added coolly, but is she the same woman who released a couple of, in all honesty, forgettable songs just about 2 years ago? Saunders blinked, then laughed. "You've heard the rumors, I see." That perhaps she isn't Saber Duncan at all, but a ringer brought in by Mosaic Records? I've heard. And now I wonder. With an effort, Travis closed his ears to that enchanting voice scant feet away, focusing his attention on the man at his side. "I heard those forgettable songs when the records were released, and that voice wasn't the one I'm hearing tonight." "You're so sure of that?" Travis ignored the mild question. That voice was as sweet as honey and just as bland. No power. Certainly no passion. And I have copies of the studio photos released to the press then. That Saber was a girl, a hothouse flower with the dew still on its petals. "Nice imagery," Saunders murmured, clearly amused. He was ignored again. "This Saber," Travis gestured toward the performer on stage, "is part jungle cat and part siren. And her voice holds more power, more raw passion than I've heard from a performer in 15 years. He lifted an eyebrow at the smiling manager. "Such a change in a single year? Sorry, Saunders, but I'm having a hard time swallowing that." "Hence the book?" Saunders questioned dryly. Travis turned his gaze back to the stage, his eyes drawn like a lodestone to the woman pouring her heart out so compellingly. "That's partly the reason," he answered honestly. "I've never written a biography before, as I told you, but you want to write hers." Saunders filled in the sudden silence between them with wry words. "Well, I warned you. Saber's a very, very private person. I honestly think she'll refuse to authorize you to write about her." Shifting his weight restlessly in an unconscious movement, Travis frowned, not noticing the thoughtful gaze of the other man. "I'll talk her into it. There isn't enough material for a single chapter in that scanty bio you released to the press. I haven't been able to build a profile on her." His frowning eyes returned to the manager's expressionless face. "One thing I have been able to find out: Saber Duncan was born just about 2 years ago. The bio that Mosaic, or you or she concocted, is just that. Concocted." Philip Saunders was silent for a long moment, his level hazel eyes weighing, considering. Then he sighed. Softly he quoted, "You would pluck out the heart of my mystery. You would sound me from my lowest note to the top of my compass." It was Travis's turn to blink. Shakespeare. Hamlet. He identified the quote easily, then the words sank in. Before he could comment, Saunders was explaining.